Welcome to Jewel in the Crown, Football Brisbane's podcast about women's football. And I'm back. Yes, Greg, I'm back. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
You know, I hope everything was all right in your trip, wherever you were, and all that sort of thing.
Oh, I was up north, family issues to deal with.
Yeah, all done?
Yeah, well, it's not all done, but never easy this time of the year.
No.
So, but yes, congratulations on young Josephine.
Yeah, thank you.
So mum and baby doing well?
Yes.
Future Matilda?
Oh, don't know yet. Have to see that, how easy it is to get to the football field.
From your place, it's not hard.
It's not hard, no.
Just a little walk down the park.
That's it.
Speaking of football, that's why we're here.
We are.
Do you know that the Football Queensland Elite Competition Women's Review Committee that was formed, that we talked about?
Yes, we did.
Have been meeting.
Good.
And while we don't have a special guest this week, we do have a guest next week.
Right, who's that guest?
That guest next week is Ben Mannion, who's I think he's the operations manager at Football Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben said he's going to come on and explain to us what's been happening and the recommendations that have been put to the clubs. The recommendations are going out at the end of this week, early next week, so the clubs will have them early next week.
Oh, cool.
So I think there might be a meeting on with the clubs as well, just to explain things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Ben's going to come on next week and talk to us about it, so we can pass it all on.
Excellent.
So we know that sometimes the clubs don't get everything out to the playing group. So
No. Well, hopefully it's the playing group that are listening to us,
Well, let's hope so. There was some games on the weekend.
There was some games, some big games, big results, huge.
Friday night, East played the Gap.
Yeah, and the Gap ended up winners 3-0 here. 1-0 to the Gap at half-time. Goals to Megan Price, Susanna Roger, and V. McDonald.
Yeah, Victoria McDonald.
Victoria, yep, excellent.
So I see, Susie Roger, that former Torma player / Mitchie, before she ended up at the Gap. Doing really well, so she's obviously got a start in the top side. She's been playing effectively reserve grade for a lot of the year.
Yeah.
But they're nice, good, fast young striker, so probably played her on the wing to take advantage of the hole left by Karen Longbottom.
The hole left by Karen Longbottom.
Possibly.
3-0, it's funny, Jeff, when we had him on, he said no teams won away from home. And ever since you've said that, Jeff, basically every team has won away from home.
So everyone's saying, Herfs, this is it.
Yep.
We're going to win.
Commentator's curse.
Last time these two met was in round one.
Yeah, 6-0 or something.
Well, 5-1 to the Gap. So
5-1.
I guess East have closed it up a little.
Yeah, 3-0 still seems comfortable.
Interesting, looking at the team sheet from the Gap are starting to transition players from their reserve grade in the youth side into the top side.
Right.
So Rob Askew's been doing that for a little while now. So you can notice there's some younger players coming on late just to get a little bit of a taste. So that's something the Gap have done very well over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, of continued to sort of reinvigorate and regenerate the top side. So as players drop away, new players come in. Now, I know you like statistics.
I do.
So after 14 games last year, the Gap had scored 84 goals and conceded 12.
Right.
Now, that's with, obviously, that top striker Hannah Beard was playing for them.
Yes.
This year, up to round 14, they've scored 70 and conceded 14. So not a big difference, but there's still a lot of goals in 14 games.
It is a lot.
So even without a striker the quality of Hannah Beard,
And
they've kept going.
Hey, what's Hannah Beard doing these
She's
days?
playing in the NPL team soccer in Sydney for one of the Sydney clubs. I can't remember which one.
I hope she pops up with a W League team again. She really was a classy player to watch.
Speaking to her before the start of the season.
Why were you speaking to her before the start of the season?
Well, she was looking at her options. And she ended up back down in Newcastle because of visa issues, which is why she was down there and not back in Brisbane at the Gap or Mitchie or Redlands or wherever she was looking at playing. But she was, what was I saying?
In Sydney, playing in the
so
NPL.
she was going to play down in Newcastle, but obviously Newcastle only been that hour really up the freeway. I saw that she was scoring goals for, I think, one of the Northern Sydney teams, but I can't remember which one it was.
Maybe we'll do a hunt and see if we can find her on the web.
Yeah, we could do an outside broadcast. We could get the silent producer to send us to Sydney for the weekend.
Yeah.
And we could have a chat to Hannah. And
sounds all right.
Yeah, he's put thumbs up, so we're right.
Excellent. All good. So, that's a pretty good from the Gap, though. Big win. Puts them on top of the table. East
it does.
Haven't won yet in the split, after the split. I can't remember who they played last week now, but they lost that game too.
UQ.
UQ, that's right. Yeah.
So, but the big result in the weekend, perhaps the surprise result, was Olympic beating Palm Beach away at Palm Beach at 1-0.
1-0. Goal there to Alira Toby. Don't have much on that game, but it seems like Olympic went down with the bare 11 too.
I saw that, and I was going to ask you, they only took 11 players.
End of school holidays, might have been a few players away because of that, but still...
That's a big risk.
It is a big risk. Well, Annalie did it at the start of the year and came away with a broken collarbone and played a Div 3 player who vowed never to do it again.
But I mean, Olympic don't have anyone really to draw on.
I know Phil does have a large squad though because of this issue, and I think this just must have been one of those weekends where these things do happen.
I don't know whether he's got away with it or it was just great coaching or big gamble and it paid off. But he's got 3 points away from home.
I have a feeling that. Well, I think. At this time of the season, if you play with the 11, can sometimes be better for your momentum because you can't rely on anyone else. You're just going to have to stick with it and just put in the hard work. And I think
it's only injuries that then hurt you.
Oh yeah, it is.
Or red cards.
Or red cards. But having that self-belief, which is something Phil really instills in the team.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're subs and get red card. You still go down to 10.
But
you can. The 10 players that are working hard can get subbed off, and you get fresh legs on.
Yeah. But anyway,
if you haven't got any subs, it makes it hard.
It does.
Last time they met was 2-1 to Palmy. So a tight game. So Olympic are keeping games nice and tight.
Well, speaking of the Gap's defensive record, you said they conceded 14. Olympic have also conceded only 14 goals. So that's a goal a match.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Well, it's very good, especially when you win.
Yeah, well, if you win, yeah.
And the final game?
Yeah, Redlands went up the coast to Sunny Coast and came away with a 4-2 victory.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, they played each other a few weeks ago in round 13.
Yeah.
Out at Redlands, Cleveland. Guess what the score was?
4-2?
4-2.
Oh, right. There you go.
So, yeah, bit of history for you.
Do we have a Red Riding report?
We do have a Red Riding report. It said this week's game was against Sunshine Coast and it was the first time Redlands had played at the Sunshine Stadium, so the venue impressed. Although some of the supporters were not happy, they had to pay $11 entry fee.
Really?
Yeah.
$11?
$11. Yeah, I didn't think it was that much. I thought it was like $6. But if you're playing before the men's NPL, then you do have to pay to get in.
But aren't they nearly always playing? Oh no, they might have been shifted because of the youth and stuff. Like the youth.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
I remember when we went up there, we snuck our supporters in as part of the playing group. We only had 3.
Yeah, put a shirt on.
Anyone that came late, well, yeah, they had to pay. That's okay.
$11 is a lot of money, though.
It seems to be a lot to get into a football
and
match.
And it's a weird amount, not $10, but $11.
Well, it's $10 plus GST.
Okay.
So, there you go. I just did my BAS return today, so it's on my mind. The game did not start well for Redlands, with Sunshine Coast posting the first 2 goals before I scored a goal in the 28th minute, followed by a goal by Michaela Hatzridolus.
Hatzridolus?
Yep. In the 40th minute to bring the score to Redlands 2 and Sunshine Coast 2 at the halftime break. Now, Tegan actually wrote before Tegan Writing scored, and I changed that because it's Tegan's report. Yes. Tegan, you scored.
Yes.
Redlands continued to add to the score in the second half with another goal by Michaela in the 75th minute. And so it took a while to get in front. And a successful shot from outside the box by Monique Hansard-Coford in the 78th minute. So 2 goals pretty close together. Yeah. The Sunshine Coast were unable to add to their first half score, so the final result was Redlands 4, Sunny Coast 2. Redlands displayed much improved skills and were able to maintain possession for the majority of the game. Redlands' play was not as tight as it should have been, with misdirected passes still being part of our play, but we were more committed to fighting for possession, more confident in clearing the ball from our own goal, and looking to the forward zones to create goal opportunities. So it sounds like they're a little bit more focused. Might be their new coach.
Could be, or, a 6-0 defeat focuses the mind as well.
It does. Sunshine Coast seemed to lack the same level of attack they had in their previous game, but maybe our game played a part in this. Unfortunately, the refereeing failed to pull up some Sunshine Coast infringements. And overall, it was a pleasing improvement for Redlands over our 2 previous games, and we scored a win we needed. There you go.
It was a win they needed.
It was. And Tegan did say that she did want to remind us that she picked the winner of the World Cup.
Well, congratulations, Tegan. You know,
I was half right. Well, I got half the final
yeah,
right.
you did.
Yeah,
You did.
So, interesting, Nelina Valadon, who's obviously back from the States, started the game for Redlands.
Yeah, I thought I noticed her on the sheet last week as well. So anyway,
Yeah, so
good sign.
there you go. And Tegan got subbed off after 78 minutes.
Yeah,
Tegan, have you mentioned the coach more in your reports?
well,
I'm not sure.
I don't know if you know in her
Maybe
case,
she got a knock. Who knows?
if she would said the coach made a spectacular substitution taking off Tegan Riding, does that mean she gives license for the coach to do it again? I don't know.
Yeah, we've got to be careful, haven't you, with these coaches?
Yeah, you never know. So that's the top half of the table. Just the results for the bottom half. Thunder and Pride have yet to play. We believe it's a forfeit. We're not sure as what's happened.
Not really sure what's going on there. We think it was a forfeit because Pride ran out of players.
We think it's
a flu or something hit the camp.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess that'll come to light at some point.
Annalee took on Mitchie and were winners 2-1. And Souths took on Taringa and were winners 1-0.
So all those two games that were played were nice and close.
Yeah.
So we seem to have some nice close results in the bottom half.
And, in the top half.
And in the top half, yeah. Golden Boot. Now, I was listening last week when you told me that if you were in...
I wasn't just speaking to you.
I thought it was just for me. Brett Whitfield, who plays for Power, was leading at the end of 13 games with 25 goals.
Yep.
And you said on the show that people in the SEQ 2 could not accumulate any more goals for the Golden Boot.
Right.
Now, Brett Whitfield may get through the entire round 2 and still win the Golden Boot.
Awesome.
Because after 2 rounds of the second round,
Right.
2 games, Lauren Brown is on 19, Tegan Riding is on 19, and Harriet Withers are on 19. So they're the chasing, and they've got like 4 games to go. And
so
they've got to catch
They need 6.
6 goals in 4 games.
Well, one of them needs 7.
And they're playing other
Good
teams in the
teams.
top half. There's no easy games for them anymore.
No,
So
I mean, Harriet Withers did get a hat-trick last week against Redlands.
yeah,
But I don't imagine there'd be many of that. So they need to get 2 goals a game.
yeah, it's going to be. So yeah, put your money on Brit.
I think
not
so.
that we condone gambling, but
Well,
if you do,
Well, we don't.
it would be a sneaky fiver on Brit to win the Golden Boot.
I don't like this gambling business.
You don't? No, me neither. I don't have an
Too
account.
easy to manipulate it in our.
Well, actually, we're not allowed to
neck of the
gamble
woods.
on football
No, you're not.
because we're involved in football.
That's
we're not
right.
allowed to gamble on it. So don't. If you're playing, don't gamble.
And if you're coaching or officiating or part of the club,
Yeah, you're not allowed. You get big trouble.
the ladder.
The ladder. The Gap on top, as you said, 39 points. Palm Beach on 37. Now, Palm Beach have played 15 and the Gap have played 14. So
The Gap have had their bye, but so Palm Beach haven't yet.
yeah, so they've got that little break. UQ still in third, comfortably almost.
Yeah,
Almost.
It's only 2. Well, comfortably in the
Comfortably in the 4.
Yeah.
Redlands are in fourth on 31 points, and East fifth on 28 points, and Olympic sixth also on 28 points. But East have played 1 extra game than everybody else. And Sunny Coast Fire back on 19 points, so not really a realistic chance of making the finals.
No, I don't think so. I think Olympic's going to do it. Just looking at defensive records here, the Gap has conceded 14, Palm Beach 11, UQ 14. Then Redlands and East have conceded 25 and 24. Then Olympic 14. So now they're playing each other, and defences have to step up. You know, if you've conceded 25 over the course against the weaker teams as well as the top teams.
Yeah, Redlands have got a goal difference at plus 26 as against Olympics plus
I think
19.
their overall goal difference is probably better.
Yeah,
But if you win, each game's a 6-pointer.
Well, if Olympic catch up and get level on 31 points...
Then it doesn't matter. Redlands will
go through. So I think the top 4 is going to be the way it is. I think Gap, Palm Beach, UQ and Redlands are going to make the finals.
I'm sneaking...
I don't think there's
Olympic
enough
in.
games.
Well, there's 4 games left.
I don't think it's going to be enough for them.
I think, I'm tipping Olympic to make it.
Yeah, well, you
They just
tip
beat Palm
Olympic and
Beach.
I'm tipping what's there already.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're not going to win games, but I think Redlands will win as well.
Okay. Games this week are huge.
They are next week, next round. So Saturday, 7 p.m. No Friday night games this week. Saturday, 7 p.m. at Elder Oval. The second half of the doubleheader. Olympic at home to the Gap.
Big game.
What colour Olympic wearing this week?
They were red.
Well, early in the season they were wearing blue and white stripes. And remember we talked about that? that why were they wearing blue and white when Olympic wear red and white? And then all of a sudden they turned up in red and white kit and whoever...
no. They were all red and white because Sunny Coast turned up to play last week and had to wear an alternate strip, Annalee's alternate strip.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised because Olympic had been playing in blue and white all through the first round.
Okay.
So if you were looking at them, you'd go, oh, they're wearing blue and white stripes. Our red kit's fine.
Well, anyway.
Might have been a ploy by Olympic. They might have borrowed that red and white kit from someone. Who knows? Look, maybe they had ordered a red and white kit for
Just hadn't
SEQ
arrived.
and
It's
hadn't
quite
arrived,
possibly.
and now they've got it. Great. Nice to see when they're actually club colours, though.
Well,
the red
they
and
still
white
have
stripes.
well, as far as I know, they still have an Annalee badge on it.
Yeah, but I mean, their club colours being red and white stripes.
Yeah.
Olympic. It's nice to see Olympic playing in their their colours.
Anyway, Olympic take on the Gap. Big game, huge game. 2-1 in the first round. The Gap just won it in the end.
I saw that game. I watched that game in the first round.
Yeah.
The Gap probably should have closed that game out a lot earlier than they did, but Olympic hung on, as they have been doing. I'm going for the Gap.
I'm tipping Olympic to make the top chase for the top spot even more exciting.
Well, there you go.
Second game is also on Saturday at 7 o'clock. UQ take on Palm Beach. Another huge game. Second versus third.
Can Palm Beach bounce back? Will UQ keep the momentum going?
Well, they had a bye. You don't know. You say sometimes buys are good and sometimes buys are bad.
But they've come off a win win over East. They've had a bit of a rest. They're coming into this game against
Probably
Palm
also
Beach.
at this time of year. But then again, I don't know. I think UQ will get this one, actually.
You do?
Yeah. Well, they lost to Palm Beach in the first round, but by all accounts, it wasn't UQ's best game. And Lena was saying last week on the show that she didn't have a great game. And if a goalkeeper doesn't have a good game...
I think that the pressure will be on Palm Beach to get 3 points. And I think Palm Beach will do it. I think they'll come up there and they'll get the points they need to keep the pressure on the Gap.
Okay. And the final game?
Sunday
at 11, Sunny Coast take on Easts. So this will probably be paid entry then?
No, it actually says Stockland number 2, which is one of the outside fields, which means you don't have to pay to get in. It's just outside near the car park.
So Redlands got suckered.
Well...
Unlucky. Sorry, Tegan. Claim it back on the tax.
Well, from a player's perspective, playing at the Stockland Stadium is a nice place to play football. And it's a nice place to watch football. So I'd probably prefer to be playing inside the stadium from a football perspective, coaching or playing. If you're up there and you've got no money as a spectator, then Field 2 is probably good. But I think I'm going to go with Sunny Coast.
No, I think East will get this one.
Are we different on all of these games now?
Yes.
Yes.
I think East will get this one. They are on a good way up higher on the ladder. I think Sunny Coast, not quite the same standard as the other 5 teams. Not far off.
Yep.
They drew last week with Olympic 1-1 and then they're 4-2. It's not a thumping at all. So, but I think East's...
I just had a feeling that Sunny Coast are just going to bounce back, and Sunny Coast are pretty quick as well, and those quick wingers and sometimes get over the top of East around the outside.
Yeah.
They scored twice against Redlands before Redlands got on the board. So
That's right.
jump Redlands. So they can jump East, and East can't recover.
Yeah.
Then I think that's where Sunny Coast will get the points.
East don't have one big goal scorer. They're lacking that. Anyway, the bottom half, Saturday at 5 p.m, Annalee take on Souths. And I think Annalee will.
Annalee for me, yep.
Taringa take on Mitchie. What time is that at?
7 o'clock at Jack Spear.
7, yep.
I think this will be a draw.
Okay, draw.
I don't think that Taringa have got the firepower to win the game, but I think they've got the defensive nous to draw the game.
Good. Okay.
And they have scored goals.
Yeah.
And Mitchie are not punishing teams when they've got possession.
No. Okay.
So I'm going for draw.
I've been backing Taringa for a long time, and they haven't come good. So sorry, Taringa. I'm going with Mitchie now.
Fair enough.
And the last game is Western Pride take on Peninsula Power.
Sunday at 5 p.m. Roast time. Out at Briggs Road.
And it's on Saturday?
Sunday, yeah, 5 o'clock. Power for me.
Yeah, Power. So the buys there, Redlands have the buy in the top half, and Thunder have the buy in the second half, the bottom half.
So that's it for this week. I'm looking. I've got nothing else.
Good.
Nothing else. I knew you'd say that. I could make something up, but I won't. I'm just looking forward to having a chat to Ben next week and finding out what's going on for next year so we can get stuck into the planning during the off-season.
Definitely. That's a really important thing, not just for the top teams and their clubs, but all the other teams who are waiting on this as well. All clubs need to know.
Or, the Logan Lightnings in Div 1 and the Baysides and all of that are in the, the Div 1, Div 2.
Ipswich Knights in the BWPL. And Ipswich Knights are on top of that table. If, say, for example, just speculation, they lost a lot of their players to Western Pride this year. If they get them back, do they try and fill 2? Is there room?
My expectation is NPL will be up and running. 4 of the top 7 are NPL clubs anyway. How they make that mix work will be up to
we'll find out next week.
We will, but everyone else in that second and third tier is sort of waiting to see what happens, and then it'll go from there. And Football Brisbane will have its competition, and it'll be a good competition.
Yeah,
and that's what we want.
Excellent.
People playing football.
That's what we want.
So from me, thanks for listening.
And thanks from me. See you next week.